Your story matters, don't let it fade. When everything changed, you were made.
Hey, this is Wendy Babcock back with When Stories, and today I'm joined with Christine Welch. Welcome, Christine.
Hello, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm excited. So I'm going to interview Christine today, and after her interview will be her one story. So you get to hear the audible version of her one story. So let's just jump in. Christine, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Christine Welch. I'm a clarity coach, and I'm trauma informed. So what I like to tell people is that I like to dig for the stuff that keeps us stuck. And I consider myself a strategic disruptor.
Nice. Just so let's talk about that, a strategic disruptor. And I know you, so of course that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
So can you tell people what does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So this is something that has kind of come to me over the last couple of years since I've started my business. But what it really means in real life is that I disrupt patterns of thought and I help women go from chaos to clarity.
Ooh, I like it. So in that process, going from chaos to clarity, so what sort of things, and without getting too personal with like clients you've worked with, but what sort of things have you helped them work through? Is it mindset, trauma? What does it look like?
Yeah, yes to all those things. Yeah. So what I see most often are women that have done work in other areas. So maybe they've been to therapy, they've been to other types of coaches, like a business coach or a health coach or other types of people and help. And then there's always this one space left that they just can't get a hold of. Like I'm successful in all these other areas and I'm educated but I can't figure this thing out, or it's still got a hold on me and I can't, reach my goal or achieve this dream. Sometimes it might even sound like I have been a mom for a really long time, or I've been supporting my partner and I'm not quite sure who I am anymore. And so those are some of the consistent ways that I see women showing up in my world.
I feel that. I feel like I went through a whole identity crisis after my divorce. Like, who the heck am I now? So I can see the value in that for sure. So how does do you go out and speak? I mean, I know you, of course, but everyone listening, so you go out and speak. Is it coaching programs, one-on-one, group? What does it look like?
Yeah, so now I actually, my history started in emergency services. So I did a 27-year career. I started as a firefighter. I went on to become an EMT and a paramedic. I was an ER tech, and then worked my way into 911 after I had knee surgery. And so I worked in 911 for the majority of my career and ended up doing supervision. But what really, really grabbed my heart in that space was helping people deal with the trauma of the job. And so I myself went through this long period of time where I was like filling my cup with traumas, if that makes sense. It's like one thing after another, after another. And to be honest, I never learned how to handle those things. I didn't really learn how to be resilient or how to manage stress effectively. I kind of grew up in this space where like we went and had some drinks at the bar and then never really talked about anything. We didn't really talk about our feelings. And so as I was progressing in my own journey, I was also trying to help others in that emergency services space. So police, fire, medical, ER staff. I was leading peer support teams and critical incident debriefings. And then I had an opportunity to speak and teach within that 911 world. And so I got to share and learn a lot and then, help others kind of navigate their own journeys. But all of that ended when I fell down the stairs. I incurred a concussion, which you'll hear in my When story a little bit more about that. But that was really where everything shifted. And then my coaching business started. And so I got to transition through that. So it's been a long road, but I really, really love what I do. And I get to offer people a couple different options like one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and then I have It just started hosting retreats for women. And my intent is to host another one for women this year. And then next year, we're going to expand that and host a retreat for couples.
Ooh, love that. So you have quite a wonderful history leading up to your coaching. Like you've got the bones, right, of the business through everything you've been through. And I'm in such awe of people who can handle emergencies. I am not that person. I'm not that person. When I worked at the clinic, one of my coworkers passed out of her desk. I was practically hyperventilating because I was so freaked out that the nurse took me aside and was trying to calm me down as my friend, like, they're calling like code blue and stuff because she's passed out and pregnant, so like I
Oh,
am like full hysteria. Hit a deer once. I have vanity plates. I had to get out of my vehicle to look at the plates for the dispatcher. So that's the person I am. So I appreciate people like you who come in with this calmness, like, okay, I understand. Yep, just give me the plate when you're ready. And they were so nice. So I appreciate everything you've done. And you're right, everything that you've done in the past with the 911 and all the EMT things, that's a lot of other people's trauma you're taking on
yeah.
and remaining calm and being the voice of reason for them. But it's got to affect you at some level. I mean, the energy of it. How did you navigate through that? It's a lot.
It was a lot. And I'll be honest with you, when I started in my career, I was young. I was like 19 years old. And I had no idea really what I was getting myself into. I knew the surface level. And the truth is, there is an energy exchange all the time. And I remember dealing with horrific things
Right.
over and over and over again and just being like, yeah, that didn't really affect me at all. I mean, it was sad. There was a
Right.
recognition of like, oh, that was tough. But then you almost don't even have time because you're running to the next call. So it's a
Right.
very busy business. It
Yeah.
never ends. They're always short staffed, no matter where you work or what part of the business you're in. There's always a short staffing issue. So you're like in the trenches. You're in it all the time. So even when you go home, um, they don't teach you to have other hobbies or really take time for yourself and take a me day. Like you don't learn
Right.
that stuff. So you're just, it's everything. It's all the people you talk to because they
Mm.
understand this language that you kind of speak when you're in the business. And you have to, like I did, I kind of learned because it all caught up to me.
Right.
So there was a period in my career where I had PTSD and I didn't know how to handle any of those things. And I had to learn. I'm very thankful for the practitioners and the network of help that I had that taught me a new way. And so that's part of what fuels my passion in my business now, because the truth is we all have trauma.
Right.
We all have something. There's big T traumas and then there's little t traumas. And our buckets all have trauma in them. And sometimes what we don't realize is that the root of trauma is intended to keep us safe.
Hmm.
It's intended to prohibit that thing from hurting us again. The
Yep.
challenge with that is that we can go, 10, 15, 20 years and still be making a conscious decision or, and I'm doing air quotes now, a subconscious decision that we don't even realize is prohibiting us from getting hurt. But the truth is, there's nothing right now that would really hurt us.
Right.
Right. So that's how trauma can be kind of sneaky and tricky, but it definitely, it is my passion and really my heart to help people get free from that.
Right. And I love this because it's a beautiful parallel to everyday life. How many times, women especially, are we going through something, whether it's work, whether it's personal, we're just getting through it and then bam, something else happens, right? So we're not dealing with the first thing. We're just kind of stacking traumas and issues. And then until we have a full out meltdown. And so unpacking that, I'm sure, is part of the process. Like, okay, let's go back a little bit and,
Yeah.
like what's actually going on? Because I've seen this with people that are in my circle. All of a sudden they have a meltdown. You're like, okay, but it doesn't make sense that you're blowing up about what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like then you find out later, oh, this other thing happened the week before. Now it makes sense. Is
Yes.
that kind of what you
Yes,
see?
Completely. Yes. Yep. And so, I have a lot of men and women that present for coaching, and they have anxiety, they have brain fog, they have this whole thing in their head of like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to do anything to take care of myself.
Right.
Or I just don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am anymore. And the truth is, part of that is like this zooming that happens in your brain and in your body. Like you're zooming all the time, so that you don't have to think about it. You don't
Right.
have to really consider like, oh, that bad thing happened. And I just need to reprocess it in a new way that my brain can file it in a new place. Because our brain is always working to help us. And
Yeah.
it's a cool process that our brain is doing and always looking out for us, but it can prohibit us from moving forward or taking chances or
Hmm.
saying, I'm going to start this new business and it is a risk, but I'm ready and I know what to do and I'm safe to say yes to this.
Yeah. And holding boundaries, right? So,
Yeah.
that's been a thing I'm working on is holding boundaries with people because it feels scary because, that's my life. I've always been, we talked about people pleaser before the call thing. And that's part of trauma and how I've learned and how my brain's trying to keep me safe. Like, oh, don't send that thing that's going to hold a boundary because it feels unsafe. When really there's nothing unsafe about it. I'm doing what's best for me. So it's
I
it's fascinating how it all works.
Yeah, it is amazing. And I think that is, I mean, you know me, but
Yep.
once you get to know me, you can see why I do what I do because I'm so excited to help other people find freedom and to really understand who they are and live your best life. We've only got one life, and something is happening with me over the last couple of years with, I had a really horrific divorce as well, just like you. We've kind of shared stories. I was a
Yep.
single mom for a long time. I was in some bad relationships, personal and professional. I didn't really know my worth. I
Right.
wasn't able to speak and say what I really wanted
Hmm.
because I had other people telling me what I should want. And I didn't learn how to take care of myself without feeling guilt and shame. And
Right.
so over the last couple of years after getting injured, I mean, it's probably been the toughest thing I've ever gone through, but it's also been like all these little blessings coming through of relearning, unlearning that old
Hmm.
stuff that really didn't serve me well. And I've been relearning how to love myself in a way that helps me keep moving forward, helps me create a life that I really love living. And so that is the fuel that helps me to show up as a great coach every day, helps me to be that strategic disruptor. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth because I
Right.
do it with so much love. I'm not afraid to point out you've got trauma in your past because we're not going to relive it. We're not going to stay there, but we have to acknowledge that it's there if we're going to deal with it and then keep moving forward. And
Right.
so, yeah, I love what I do. I just absolutely love it.
And you can see that. So if people obviously they can't see you, this is all audio, but like if you could see Christine like light up as she's talking about this, like I can just see it. Like you're leaned in and you're excited. So I wish people could actually see that. But they can watch your one story to see how passionate you are about all this. So let's talk briefly about that. So you got on stage and you shared some vulnerable moments. What was that like for you putting that out there and connecting it to what you do specifically? Because sometimes we don't like to tie in like our trauma, the things that we've been through in life to, oh, this actually does kind of fuel my business. This is why I do what I do.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And to be honest, when I first said yes to When Stories, I couldn't see the connection to my business. I
Okay.
really couldn't. And I just thought, well, maybe I'll just be the one that it really doesn't connect to my business. And that's okay because I knew that I needed to tell part of my story. I knew that it was inspiring for other people that have maybe been through a traumatic incident or had been terminated from their job.
Yeah.
And, you'll hear in my When story that so much of my identity was steeped in what I was doing, in the uniform that I was wearing, that I had almost forgotten who I was and that my gifts could be utilized anywhere, doing anything.
Right.
And so as I went through the process with you, through the coaching process of like really helping me to dig out my story and what were the parts that I wanted and needed to share with the world. As we went through that process, you almost guided me down this path where it seemed so obvious
Hmm.
that my story really connected with my business, right? Because as I'm getting bold, as I'm deciding to share this story, and parts of it I've really never told anyone,
Yeah.
and I almost have disappeared for the last 3 years. I
Wow.
was really out in the world and had a ton of connections, and I was traveling all over speaking and teaching and running this portion of 911 world. Uh, Once I fell, everything in my life changed, and I really disappeared because I was injured in a way that I didn't even know was possible with a concussion. I half the time I sounded like a stroke victim. I couldn't
Wow.
talk, couldn't get my words. Uh, was dizzy, couldn't walk by myself, couldn't even get myself dressed.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it was really, really hard. I couldn't cook for like a year because I couldn't follow a recipe, like the simplest things.
Right.
And so I
Wow.
had to relearn all that. But the reason I'm saying all that is because those things helped me or caused me, I guess, to disappear from the world. And as I disappeared and then started reemerging in this way, using When stories and this platform, it's really helping me to see how so many of my clients have done the same thing.
Mm.
They've
Oh, wow.
really, they've shrunk back into the corner. Maybe they put on a happy face. Maybe they post a bunch of pictures on social media so their family looks perfect, or I'm doing great and I love my career and I love my job and I'm totally fulfilled, right? But at the end of the day, we all know that there this facade really isn't the truth about who you are.
Right.
What you have, what you do, the roles you play, that's not really who you are. And so all of a sudden I could see the parallel with my passion for coaching. And what I'm really helping people do is discover their purpose, discover who they are so that they can say, this is the kind of life I want to live, and I'm going to do it now. Uh, this fall changed my life. But another thing that changed my life was meeting the man of my dreams and getting married after
Mhm.
being a single mom for 10 years. Another thing that changed my life was doing When stories and being able to get bold and get on stage and speak my truth and share some things that I've never shared before.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm so happy that, you were able to get on stage and you truly do give people clarity. That's the beauty. So you've named your business like the Clarity Collab, like
Yeah.
perfectly. Because that's
Yeah.
exactly what you do. Like talk about great marketing, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And at the time when I named it, my intention was to collaborate with other practitioners, other coaches, other people like you, knowing that clients coming to me, I can help them and serve in this one area, but it
Right.
takes a village, right? And so I wanted to make sure that I had a network of professionals that I could refer my clients out to you. What I have discovered is that, yes, that's still true. However, I discovered that the Clarity Collab was really about you and I collaborating to create the life that you love. And
Ooh.
so it's this beautiful collaboration of I'm walking beside you as we're coaching. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I
Mm-hmm.
am here to help you discover what the best thing is for you to do. And it is I don't I don't know that a lot of people say this, but it is like truly an honor when people say yes to
Mm.
stepping into coaching with me. Like I take that seriously. I
Yeah.
make a commitment to that space and really hold that safety for us to do the work because I know it's not easy to ask for help. I know it's not easy to trust people, but I do really love what I do, and I take that seriously.
And it shows, honestly. Like I think anyone who's in your vicinity can see that with you. People who have gotten to know you even a little bit can see that. That just radiates from you.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you so much for, jumping on to talk to us a little bit, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do. How would people get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more? We'll put it in the show notes, but
okay.
what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. I'm definitely on socials.
Hmm.
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and then LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
I have links in all of those places. If you want to just connect with me, I offer a free discovery call. So it's a great way for us to just get to know each other.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, right in 5 minutes, we can tell if we're going to be a good fit or not.
Yep.
I also have a link on my website and the LinkedIn if you're looking for speaker. So I do executive retreats. I'm a keynote speaker. I do workshops. I've done workshop for you,
Yep.
Wendy, and love that too. And my website is theclaritycollab.com.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you so much again.
yeah.
Stay tuned. Next up is Christine Welch is One Story.
Your story matters, don't let it fade. When everything changed, you were made.
Everything changed when I decided to say yes to a life coaching certification course. This yes led me to a life I never saw myself having. To be honest, life coaching was not what I wanted to do. It was not on my radar at all. And truthfully, I couldn't understand how anyone would actually need a life coach. I was actually preparing to take the next step in my career. I was training for higher leadership position, and ultimately, I wanted to run my own 911 center. I was already 26 years into my career in emergency services. I started as a firefighter, went on to be an EMT and a paramedic, eventually became a 911 operator, and then was a supervisor at a large 911 center. Part of my journey in moving forward was getting my bachelor's degree, and I was in the process of doing that. I had a focus on crisis and trauma counseling. My list of certifications and accolades went all the way to the floor. And I was a teacher, a speaker, a trainer, a curriculum creator, a lead peer support and debriefer, and an adjunct instructor at my local tech college. I loved what I did, but I was exhausted. Life coaching, again, not on my radar. This little class was intended to enhance my resume and widen my knowledge base to prepare me to be a better manager or a director. My when story, though, it doesn't end there. The unraveling actually has just begun in my timeline. Everything continued to change when I was home alone one night in December of 2021. It had already been a really long day at work. And all of a sudden, I found myself at the bottom of a staircase. I was scanning my body. I was checking for injuries after my left foot slipped out in front of me, and I fell all the way to the bottom of that staircase. I was holding my breath. I was staring at all the dirty clothes on the floor that had fallen out of my arms as I tumbled down the stairs. I was grabbing the back of my head, realizing that I had slammed it back over and over again as I went down the staircase. After a month off work, I had returned to driving, but restricted hours had me working less. And my sore body, I could finally move, I could finally return. And my concussion brain started to heal just a little bit. I was managing the bright lights and the constant noise and sounds. I don't know if you know this, but there are 4 different telephone rings in a 911 center. Each of those rings means something different. Also, my desk at work had 8 computer screens in front of me and 4 keyboards. It was very overwhelming. It was a lot to manage, but part of my responsibilities were to manage everything coming in and out of that 911 center. Some time had passed, and my restrictions to shorten days, although they were still in place, I was at work still as a 911 supervisor and doing well. It was a day in March, just 3 months after that first fall. I stood up to push a button like I had done so many other times to open this remote door. And as I went to sit back down, the chair behind me pushed away and was no longer there. It was just like a slow motion movie sequence. I'm sitting down, I'm leaning back all at the same time, and the chair rolls away, and there's nothing there to catch me. My body fell to the floor, straight backward, nothing to stop me, and I landed hard on the floor. I remember bracing myself for impact, like locking up all the muscles in my back and my shoulders, my neck and my head. And I don't think that my head hit the floor, but the whiplash effect on my body, on my head and my brain, it was so severe that it caused a huge regression in my healing. I couldn't get up, I couldn't stand up or open my eyes. The dizziness and unsteadiness that ensued plagued me for months and months and months. Some days good, most days bad. Unable to function in normal life, really. I had never had an injury so severe in my life. Doctor's appointments, scans, physical therapy, speech therapy. The pursuit of healing continued, but the unraveling, it wasn't done yet, and I had no idea what was coming. The emergency chaos in which I had flourished turned to dim lights, low noise, and hours of sleeping, rest, and recovery. Without my permission, the sprinting had turned to a marathon. I could not return to work, and I had no idea how I was going to move forward. And that's when everything changed again. About 6 months after that first fall, all my PTO had been used up. I had no FMLA left to use, and HR called me into work for a meeting. At that point, I was really, really struggling in the healing process of my concussion. My husband actually had to help me get dressed. He had to stable me just to walk and drove me to work. When I showed up, they told me that my 27-year career was over. I would no longer have a position at the county in the 911 center. I was numb. My identity as an emergency responder, as a servant leader, as a professional and the go-to person for help, for protocols and extra hours, I was the reliable girl. It was all stripped away in a 3.5-minute meeting. 17 years of dedicated service meant nothing in that moment. I had seen it done to others. I just never really thought it would be me. I crawled back home, hurting and damaged from the concussion, and then questioning who I was without my uniform, without the job, without helping people, and the never-ending constancy of responsibilities that I've loved to hate over my entire adult life. I felt betrayed and abandoned. I had been loyal for almost 2 decades. I had served at the expense of my family, my body, and sometimes my sanity. I wore exhaustion like a badge of honor. I worked insane hours with changing schedules and every type of weather situation you can imagine. I had worked almost every horrific tragedy that struck our county, and sometimes those even at the state or national level. I missed birthday parties and recitals and bedtime prayers. I missed going to the gym and resting and taking care of myself. But what I'd soon discover in the aftermath of termination was that everything actually changed again when I realized that my identity was steeped in what I did, who I helped, and what I was giving to others, rather than who I was. The days and months following this were excruciating, as you can imagine, both mentally and physically. Up until this point, my understanding of concussion injuries were really in just reference to athletes who would get injured, take some time off, maybe days to weeks, and then go back to playing the sport that they loved. This has not been my story. It's been 3 years, and I'm still unable to drive, work full time, Some days I can't even go in the grocery store or go to church. And as you can see, my speaking career has shifted as I'm having to use some notes today. When everything changed in my life, I realized that I had been neglecting myself and the ones that I love for quite some time. I thought the fall down the stairs was the end of me, but I'm climbing my way back up one step at a time. My worth and my identity are grounded in who God says I am, not what I do or what I produce. Now I focus on healing and loving myself. I focus on rebuilding my life intentionally. During that long season, I was a helper and my heart was genuine to love people and be authentic in that space. I spent far more time and energy helping others while I was actually ignoring myself. The concussion and its after effect has been equally the worst and the best thing that's ever happened in my life so far. It's wrecked me physically, and I'm still in process. I'm still healing. Now I finally have the energy and the physical ability to advocate and fight for myself. It's taken a mental toll, and it has affected every relationship that I have. I realized that I knew a lot of people, but very few really knew me. Very few were willing to step into the chaos with me. And I thank those people that did. Thank you. It is clear to me that the majority of my connections in my life were very shallow relationships. The truth is, I genuinely love people and I love being a helper. But looking back, I can see that it wasn't that I was a shallow person. It was more like my cup was so filled up. I was so chaotic all the time that I didn't have a lot to give and I didn't have the capacity to receive from other people. Once I had the opportunity to slow down, to heal, I got quiet and I could actually hear the longing of my soul. I noticed a craving, one that I hadn't had for a very long time, one that I haven't been able to hear in a very long time. That craving was for girl time, for silly laughter, for trying new things, and also for real and raw relationships, a sisterhood. Not just any kind, not the shallow kind that I was so used to. I was craving deep, authentic sisterhood, the kind that will help to build my faith, build my family and my marriage, the kind that is tangible and loyal. I'm not interested in drama or gossip or worry or wasting any more time. Now I'm seeking true connection. And I want to decide what my life is going to be and then work towards that. I decide now where to spend my time and my energy. Standing before you today, I'm a midlife woman approaching 50, dealing with crazy perimenopause symptoms, still healing from post-concussive challenges, and I'm newly married to the love of my life, Aaron. All 5 of our children are now thriving adults, and I've launched a new business as an emerging entrepreneur. I'm learning what it means to decide what your life is going to look like, and I've started showing up differently in life and in business. I've realized that life coaching was right up my alley. My gifts and my talents fit perfectly in this space. It's forward focused, it's action oriented, and I love the way that I get to help women create lives that they love. Now, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, a retreat host, and the founder of a sisterhood that is grounded in truth and authenticity. As for sisterhood, I created what I couldn't find, the place where I could become her, the best version of myself. And I'm blessed to be connecting with my soul sisters, all of us looking for love and grace and support and accountability and celebration in an authentic space with other women who are ready and willing to do the work. My journey has been about unlearning what didn't serve me, like false identity, hustle culture, and people pleasing over caring for myself and my family. My journey has also included reclaiming my God-given identity that's rooted in truth and power and purpose and discovering the best version of my life. I thought the fall down the stairs was the end of me, but it was actually the beginning of a whole new me. The moment I decided to rebuild my life steadied on God's truth, my whole life changed and IGNITE Sisterhood was born. This community is for women like me, maybe like you, who are done with the exhaustion and the burnout and not really knowing who we are. We share a desire. We're so ready for more. More authenticity, more healing, more clarity, more joy. And now I decide my fallback is my comeback. Thank you. Thank you.
Your